Hello, welcome everybody to the Content Crowd. This is a podcast where we explore what makes content resonate, from creative habits to point of view shifts to behind the scenes breakdowns. Also, you guys can stop mimicking and start making something that actually matters. I'm your host, Trevor Grimes, and today I'm joined by a wonderful friend of mine, Hannah Green, who is she kind of has two different titles. So instead of me introducing, I will let her talk about what she does and who she does it for.
Okay, hi. Thank you so much for having me. This is my first live podcast and really only like my second or third
This is
podcast.
only my fifth.
We're at the same level, basically. Yeah. We're just figuring it out. So I'm the internal marketing coordinator at Nick the Marketer and Patient Care Marketing Pros, which sounds very confusing because people are like, okay, what are those things and why do you work for two different companies? I'm trying to make it a short answer, but it'll probably be a long answer. So Nick the Marketer was started by our founder, Nick Horde, when it was just him doing marketing. So he mainly started with Facebook ads, and he would go to like all of these networking events, and he would try to like talk to people and introduce himself. I think he said the name was Digify was what he was going to call the company. And everybody was like, well, no, dude, you're Nick the Marketer. Like that is your name. That should be the name of your company. So at first it was just him, and then he brought on a whole team. So I started doing Nick the Marketer stuff. And so we do digital marketing for small businesses in general. So we have like HVAC companies. We've done like landscaping. We have a few like attorneys and stuff. So really it's like any kind of small business that needs predominantly SEO, website design, paid ads, and social media. And so that was started in 2019, I believe. I think we just turned 7. And from that, we started working with a few urgent cares, and we were like, oh, we've kind of like figured out how this works. And so we built Patient Care Marketing Pros as like a niche down company. It does all the same stuff. It just helps us like grow within that niche and makes it easier for urgent cares to connect with us and find us. So that's a little bit of what I do, or like who I work for. And then I do all of the internal content. So all of our social stuff, our emails, our webinars, our podcast. This is our podcast room called Walk-Ins Welcome. It's a healthcare marketing podcast.
It's a great title.
It is. It's really great. Nick and Michael came up with it.
I've always been a little jealous of Nick because he's like the only person I feel like I know who has successfully named something after himself. Like I feel like we've all like tried to like make our Instagram handle or like something around our business to be named after it. And then it's kind of like, I mean, I've changed mine like 100 times and I've got like 3 different emails now. And I'm just kind of like, don't know what to do with all of it.
Yeah. Well, I had Hannah May Letter Co. for so long. And then I was like, I don't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. But yeah, we have a few conversations every now and then where he's like, is it weird that it's named after me? And I'm like, no, I think it's cool. And it's like a fun story to tell and like own it. Like you are Nick the Marketer.
Do you guys get those kind of questions though, where it's like, hey, I do this for Nick the Marketer, and they're like, is Nick a person or is that a entity? Or
yeah, especially Michael. So Michael's our VP of operations, and back when he did a lot of sales stuff, and probably still even now, but it used to happen a lot more. Like Nick would come into a meeting after like we were doing a kickoff meeting. He would come in and they'd be like, oh my gosh, you're a real person. So it kind of felt like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Where it was like, oh, maybe he doesn't exist, but it's like, no, he's real and he exists. Yeah. So we started Patient Care Marketing Pros, I want to say 2020, because obviously COVID happened. And so there was a bigger need for urgent cares in the space. And so our urgent care clients that we did have kind of ramped up stuff. And that's kind of how we figured it out. And honestly, in the past like 3 years, I feel like I've gone more into that space than I have working on Nick the Marketer stuff. We're still kind of figuring out some stuff as far as like, how do we position Nick the Marketer in the industry? But Patient Care Marketing Pros, we've got it figured out. Like we're doing pretty good.
Yeah, well, that's why I put on your like the title card on here. I put Patient Care Marketing Pros because that's kind of what like I know you as now. I mean, I know that it's part of Nick the Marketer, but I've always like, I think since about like 2021, because I feel like me and you were both creating content of some form because I was working for a different company at that time. And I feel like maybe you guys, I know I started like attending a few of your webinars and I quit working at that place in 2022. So I feel like, 2021, 22 sounds accurate. Well, that kind of answered the next question was like, how did you kind of fall into the urgent care space? Do you see that as like an avenue where you guys are going to use like almost like Nick the Marketer as like a shell of like, we're going to go after patient care and then we can eventually, like you mentioned, like lawyers, like like, let's go straight after lawyers. And now we're, I don't know, lawyer pro marketing or something. I don't know.
Honestly, we've had those conversations before in our marketing meetings of like, we want to use Nick the Marketer as like a funnel to figure out like what niches we are successful in. And again, we're still like working out like the nitty gritty of it to make it make sense. Cause like, I don't want to be like, hi, we're like this hub and then we have all these companies under it. But yeah, I think that is something definitely that we're interested in, just saying like what we're good at. We always used to say that Nick the Marketer was the company that we got to like experiment with. So like if a new industry came in, we were like, oh, we can try it out and see like what works, what doesn't work. And then Patient Care Marketing Pros is the more like, okay, we know this works. It's a formula now. We're able to replicate it. So I still do like that we have the Nick the Marketer side where we're able to just like help businesses. And obviously if we have somebody that we've worked with before, like an industry we've done before and it wasn't a great fit, we will tell the companies that. We'll be like, hey, we've tried working in this industry. It's really hard. Success, it takes a longer time, that sort of thing. But yeah, I definitely think that as we continue to grow that brand again too, we'll just find new industries that we like working with. I do personally think that I'll want to lean more into the urgent care side just because it's been really fun. I've really enjoyed working in it. And so I'm excited to see how that continues to grow and also just what we do in general.
Yeah, the urgent care one is such a cool like space like to me because when you guys started doing it I was like, oh, I bet there's a lot that can be done with that. It seems like there's probably, I mean, because I feel like it's one of those things that's like it kind of sells itself because it's like if you're going to go to an urgent care, like you kind of know, but if you live in like a town that has like multiple ones where I know we live in separate places, but I think we both have like probably 20 urgent cares on the corner that we can all go to.
Right.
And like 5 of them are probably owned by the same like hospital system. So how do you choose which one to go to? And I guess like, so what would be the most common problem you guys are seeing? Cause I'm thinking like, if I go to an urgent care, what is going to make me like go back? Because I'd imagine there's not like a ton of repeat, right? It's kind of just, you've got to decide which one to go to. If you've like, I went to an urgent care to get my finger stitched up when I almost cut my finger off a few years ago, but I haven't been back to that one. Like, I think I went back and took the stitches out and that was it. So
yeah, I think that with our clients, we are trying to talk to them more about like creating those repeat visits, and like having your standard, like, oh, if I need urgent care, this is the one I'm going to go to because I've been there before and they treated me well and X, Y, and Z, whatever the reason you went to them was. And I work like so behind the scenes that I don't often get to talk to clients. This is just like what I've heard of like how we want to be kind of that in between of like, I don't need to go to the emergency room. Like I probably could like, if I can't get in with my primary care, like this is I'm going to go to the urgent care that I trust and that I know. And honestly, reviews helps that. I try to talk to them about like social media content. Like if you're putting yourself out there as like you're fun and relatable and all that stuff, which feels weird to do for an urgent care. You're like, oh, it's a medical place. Like how fun can it be? But I've seen people on TikTok do it. There's this one account that I follow. I absolutely love. They're in Louisiana. And it's like, if they were here, I would go to their urgent care because I'm like, oh, they're real people. And it's like when I go to the doctor, especially urgent care, when I do not feel well, I'm clearly in immediate need. I want to feel like they care about me and they want to take care of me. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And like, I kind of just like want my mom. So I'm like, I need you to pretend or I need you to like actually care, and like show that human relatable side. So
that's such a good point because is there like stigma around urgent cares?
100%. I had a conversation with somebody a few weeks ago where they were like, are urgent cares as qualified as like a hospital or like the whatever? And I'm like, well, yeah, they're like still nurse practitioners and like doctors and they did all the same things. They just work at an urgent care or like in family medicine or whatever. So yeah, we were trying to get out of the whole like doc in a box thing because that was such a stigma for so long. But like one story that I always tell is like in a lot of like rural areas, you have like one hospital system. So where we went to school in Jacksonville, we had one hospital system in Anniston, the RMC, and that was the only hospital that was available for 3 cities. And there were people even from like Talladega that would like drive into that hospital. And so it's like, if there are urgent cares there to help take off the load of an emergency room, like that hospital is going to be able to be more efficient. And like, again, we're lucky that we live in places where there are so many options for our healthcare. But it's really just trying to educate like the general population of like, hi, if your finger's cut, you don't have to go. I mean, unless it's falling off, go to the emergency room. But it's like, if you just need like a quick, you can go to urgent care. And it's not a doc in the box. It's like they're qualified doctors and nurse practitioners there to help you, and really just like stops the overwhelm in the hospitals and stuff, which I really like. And I think that's like why I've kind of leaned more into the patient care marketing pro side, is because like I want to advocate for urgent cares and be like, hi, these are really great people and they can help you and help their communities and stuff. So
because I never thought about the angle of like trying not to overwhelm like other hospitals and things like that, like with the emergency room. And I think also making that distinction between like, should I go now? Is it an emergency room visit, or is it like, can I wait to see my primary? Or if I don't have a primary, like how does that kind of fit into the space? So I think that's like a super important thing that you guys are doing to kind of like help people understand. Because yeah, I mean, I still call the urgent care like a doc in the box or whatever, and it's
I'm
like,
trying to change that, so don't
okay,
do that.
okay, I won't say it anymore.
But I also
will,
like understand the stigma, especially like when COVID was happening. Like you would go to the urgent care. Like I went to like the same urgent care every time to get a COVID test.
Yeah.
But now like I know like if I have an immediate need and I can't get an appointment with my primary care, there's an urgent care that's one of our clients. It's like right down the street from my house. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to go to them. And like they can help me out with my problem. And if I need to go to a primary care, I need to go to the ER, they're going to be like, hey, you should go do this. But yeah, I'm trying to help change that stigma. And then also trying to talk to urgent cares about that, about like educating their audience of like, this is when you come to urgent care and this is when you go to the ER. Because like people don't know. They're like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just going to go to a doctor.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have, when I had to get stitches, I was kind of like, I think I had to ask like my wife because she works like, do I go, is this a medical room visit or is this a, you know, and I call, yeah, I was like, it was like 8:30 p.m. and the closest urgent care closed at 9. So I just like called and was like, hey, if I come right now, it could be there in like 2 minutes. Can I get stitches? And they're like, yeah, couldn't do that at a emergency room. I couldn't call an emergency room and be like, can you guys get to me before I bleed to death or what? So
you would have sat there for so long.
Yeah, I've had situations like that before. I've had other unfortunate accidents when I was younger where I had to sit in an emergency room for hours while I was like, I'm in trauma right now.
Care's a great in between. We just had someone from the UCA, they work with their advocacy. They're the advocacy manager of UCA. And they quoted somebody that's like also in the industry. Her name's April Gillum. She often says like urgent care is everyday health care. So it's like, we're here for you like every day. Like we can help you whenever you need somebody. And I really like that because I just think that's like the mindset we need to have of like, hey, I can go to an urgent care.
You mentioned that you guys do a weekly podcast. You have a newsletter, monthly webinars, and you have social media, blogs, and just everything else in between. So with the weekly newsletter, is this a LinkedIn newsletter or an email newsletter, or do you do both?
So we do a MailChimp newsletter right now. Okay. I've looked into LinkedIn newsletters, but I haven't done like much research on them. That's something that I would like to get into more, just to figure out like the best way to approach it. Because I kind of want them to be different, you know, like I don't want it to be the exact same content. So I'm still figuring that out. But yeah, we do MailChimp newsletter every Tuesday. The format is the exact same every week. We have a podcast episode and then we have like one other piece of content, whether that's we're doing a webinar this month. So like the one I sent 2 days ago on Tuesday, it was like, hey, sign up for a webinar on front desk training. Or it'll be like, hey, join our LinkedIn group. Or it'll be, oh, here's this blog that we posted, or here's this article we saw, like Time, back to our conversation a minute ago, Time posted a blog about like ER versus urgent care. And I was like, oh, this could be great and like good summer content to share. So the format's the same every week. It goes out on Tuesday every week. We just upgraded our MailChimp stuff to be able to send it out at like a time that's like better optimized. So I'm still working on that a little bit, but yeah, we're doing that. That's pretty good.
Cool. You know, I'm assuming most of these things live kind of in LinkedIn or live on LinkedIn in terms of like the podcast. I know the podcast goes out, but how do you actually get urgent cares to like tune in and like listen to the podcast and watch the webinars?
So our email newsletter is the first thing that we do. We have a list of like almost 1,000 people that we send that out to. And then the rest is we're connected with the Urgent Care Association. And so we try to have like people from the Urgent Care Association on our podcast just to get the word out. We've also gone to a lot of their events, which have been super fun. We just went to our third one in Dallas, Texas last month. And I really like those events because it's like such a great way to like people to put a brand and faces together and be like, oh, they're real people. It's honestly been a slow process. We find that urgent cares are a lot like, they take their time to like commit to something, but we also started running Facebook ads in March, I believe.
Yeah.
Our Facebook, you have been seeing those?
Yeah. But I think it's because I not to say that your targeting's off. I think it's because I interact with you guys. So obviously I see your ad.
Yeah. Our Facebook ads manager, Philip, or he's one of our paid ads managers. He does our Facebook ads and he's brilliant at it because we tried it for years to be like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And then he came in and was like, hey, I really like this stuff. Here's the formula I've used before. Let's just try it. And it's been fantastic. And so it's like, okay, if somebody interacts with that ad, maybe they'll like our stuff and then they can connect through it that way. And
when you say formula, you're talking about like the targeting and sort of like, okay.
Yeah. He has this, he was like, I don't really target. Like, he was like, he lets Facebook figure it out and like the Facebook algorithm figure it out. And at first we were like, does that work? But I mean, it hasn't proved us wrong yet. And we just started running webinar ads. So we're going to see how those do. But before that, it was like all organic. Like, it was just, we're connecting with people on LinkedIn. We're talking to people in our email. We're going to events. We're doing everything we can. We have SEO strategy. So that helps a lot too. But for the most part, it was all, we weren't paying for it at all. We were just putting content out there to build trust and like create that connection with the clinics.
Yeah.
And honestly, Facebook ads, I feel like just ramped that up. We're like, okay, good. We have an omnipresence like platform. We're good to go. So
yeah, I love that because I'm always like super big on trying to get everybody to do as much organic as possible, or at least like 3 to 6 months of just like being consistent and putting things out there. Because I mean, imagine if you guys were running those ads and somebody was really interested and came and you've got like those ads in like 2 posts. Like, it's like there's not the proof of concept there.
You have no social proof. Yeah. They're like, oh, we don't know that these are real people. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Organic social is not for the faint of heart though. Like, as a words of affirmation person, organic social sometimes like hurts because I'm like, oh, I put out this really good post and nobody saw it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's always, I don't know, it's so hard sometimes to figure out like what works and what doesn't. Like, everybody's like, just find out what works and double down on it. And you could post like 10 things and they're like the one thing that goes really well and you like redo that and it doesn't work. And you're like, is it like, it's kind of weird to sometimes like there's a lot of stuff I have no idea. Yeah.
It's a slow process. Yeah. It just
Do you guys research Reddit as well?
We haven't done a lot of Reddit research. I feel like somebody that worked here a few years ago was like, oh, we should look into this. We had somebody from Reddit call the other day and Nick forwarded him to our production manager to be like, hey, is this something we want to do? But I haven't really done a lot of it. I feel like recently, within like the past 6 months, I've kind of transitioned our focus more to like LinkedIn and stuff because we are talking to business owners. And so I felt like that was like a better like B2B connection. And then we're doing Facebook as well because a lot of clinics have Facebook profiles because obviously people in their community are searching on Facebook or whatever. And so I'll post a lot of content on there and try to interact with clinics and all that stuff. So that's kind of where we've shifted our focus a little bit.
Yeah. Sorry, I misspoke. I didn't mean like Reddit for business. I meant like, are you searching on Reddit to see what people are saying about your like local urgent cares and things?
No, I'm not a big Reddit person anyways.
Yeah.
I feel like I have too many social platforms as it is. It's probably something I should look into. Have you used it? Has it been good?
Yeah. I mean, I know you don't you don't see everything I post, but I did make a post about it a few weeks ago because that's like one of the first things I do when we get a new client is like, go to Reddit and see like, has anybody ever talked about this product, about this thing that they do? And most of the time I'm surprised there's actually like a lot, even like just random software that you think nobody's like talking about on Reddit. People are on there and like people can go to Reddit and complain and it's because it's not completely anonymous, but pretty anonymous.
Yeah.
There's been times where I'll take a screenshot and be like, this is what everything I just searched you on Reddit and all of them are like bad immediately. How can you improve that? How can we turn this? Yeah, I mean, I think that would be probably one of the best things to do for you, like because you've got sort of a local like benefit there of like look at the I don't know like the whichever urgent care is closest or whatever, and just see like are people talking about it on Reddit? Like look at like the Birmingham subreddit or whatever, and then like I'm sure somebody's complained about a bad experience they've had, and it's kind of like what can we do to like make this better, or what can we do to change this because now this is where people are going to go look when they're trying to find something to do with like, what urgent care should I go to? And they're going to look on Reddit and see that everybody says this one's the worst one.
I have to look into that. Yeah, I don't know much about Reddit. I like had it once for a few weeks because I was like I was doing Bachelor content. Like I was looking at like the Bachelor and Bachelorette content and then I deleted it. So that's probably something I should look into.
I'll send you some stuff like after this. But yeah, I would say that's that's like the dark social element where it's like, you're not really going to find it. But I would think that at least certainly for people like our age, I feel like it, like are looking there, like if I'm going to go to an urgent care, if I have time to research something like this, then that might be where I go. I mean, I do that about everything. Every time I search everything, it's plus Reddit. So I can find like a result from somebody who is going to like tell me like
that they've been there. You want real stories. Yeah. That's why we always try to encourage. We just encourage Google business profile reviews. Like, hi, this is what you need to be getting because people are always going to look at your reviews and like people are always going to look at Reddit stuff. And honestly, people like try to strive for that like 5-star rating. But honestly, I think I would trust an urgent care more that had like a 4.7 because it's like, okay, you messed up with this one person, but like overall, you're pretty, I don't know. The 5-star, I'm like,
I do the same thing with if I'm buying furniture from IKEA or if I'm buying something from Marketplace. I want something that has like a 4.4 because all the bad ratings are like, this is hard to put together. And I'm just like, I can deal with that. That means everything else is good. Yeah. Yeah. Or like, this person was 10 minutes late, so I give them 3 stars. I'm like, all right, deal with that. You know, like I need to know if there's too many 5-star ratings and they're just 5-star with no thing. I'm like,
then it feels fake. You're like, oh, this isn't real.
That's interesting. That's like a good piece of content we should do, is like why 4.4 stars seems better than actually. I think like I'm pretty sure in $100 million Leads, I believe that like Alex Ramosi talks about that, like seeing 3 5-star reviews that are from your grandmother, your mother, and your sister versus 1,000 4.5-star reviews have more like proof of concept, and you know that people are actually using it, and that seems better than a 5-star.
Yeah, like I know that like people are going to have bad days. So it's like somebody at the front desk might have had a bad day and then reacted a certain way. And so then somebody goes on and leaves a review and they're like, hey, this person wasn't nice to me. But again, that's something that I'm like, okay, maybe they were just having a bad day. That's not going to like hinder me from going to the clinic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what kind of stuff do you guys typically like suggest that clinics do? Like if you've got a clinic that doesn't do anything other than have the website, maybe what are some of like those first steps you guys suggest?
So honestly, I feel like we've kind of shifted our strategy even within the past like 2 years, maybe even year with this, where we're really focusing on Google ads just because that's like more of an immediate win, where like SEO takes like a longer time to like build up and like start ranking on Google and all that stuff. So yeah, we've kind of switched to the Google ads side, and Philip, like I was saying earlier, and then Kevin, he's another paid ad specialist. They do a really great job of making sure those conversion rates go down. So like I had to film an ad. You probably saw the ad. I had to film an ad for Philip that was talking about clinics often see like a patient acquisition, like to get a patient costs like $60, which is fine, but like not great. And we have gotten it down to like $9 to $22 per patient. And so I'm like, well, that's great stats. I'll do those. So yeah, we really try to start with Google ads just because that's has more intent, you know, like if I'm looking for an urgent care on Google and their ad pops up, like I'm going to go and visit their thing or their clinic. And then after that, I'd probably say SEO just because it's more long-term. And then we often try to tell people like do your social media in-house because like, yes, we can make posts based off photos you've given or stock photos, or we can do your testimonials. But like at the end of the day, like it's going to be a lot more relatable and real if it's coming from you, the people in the clinic. And yeah, so we do that.
So how do you, I feel like that's like the biggest hurdle, right? Is to get somebody to start doing social in-house.
Yeah.
So do you have like media kits or things like that? Or what's like how do you overcome that barrier? Because I feel like that's gotta be a huge barrier, especially for somebody working in the medical field to find 10 minutes to post something.
Yeah, so I am trying to put together DIY toolkits. We have one big one that has like all of our webinars and our downloads, and we have like a content calendar in there that helps them. Grace, just like getting content from clients can be difficult. Grace works with me. She's one of our client success managers. Yeah, it's so difficult to get that content sometimes because they're so busy. And so they're like not thinking about it. But I'm trying to create DIY toolkits for like each service that we do to kind of create that media toolkit. But for now, we do have like a content calendar to kind of break that down of like, here are seasonal topics that you can talk about. That way you're not having to like reinvent the wheel every time. And then I often like if they have like questions of like, okay, well, what kind of stuff can we do? I'll try to send them ones that I see being successful. So like that one from TikTok that I talked about a little while ago, like I'll often send those and I'm like, listen, like they're killing it. Like I love their content. I love what they do. Really just like seeing what works for me. And I'm like, hey, this would probably work for you too, because I'm a patient, like I'm a consumer of your service. This would work on me. So you should do it too.
I think that's so interesting because we talked about this 2 weeks ago on my interview with Phil, and he was just talking about like not getting stuck, like his like hill to die on was like not getting stuck on like one platform based on what you think works or whatever. So it's really interesting to me that you've like brought up like, yeah, there is like creators on TikTok who are urgent care people who are, and it's like people get stuck in the mindset that like you got to do dances on TikTok. And I'm like, I don't see anybody dance on TikTok. I don't follow people who dance not on TikTok. I'm sorry. Like people are on there creating things and putting their heart and soul into creating good content, and you can do it too.
Yeah. They'll do like funny little skits or like take a trend and kind of POV it for their clinic. And so they have like some funny stuff that's like entertaining. And then they also have like an educational piece where every now and then the doctor will sit down and be like, here's why you need a flu shot or something like that. Like he'll talk about things that people are asking. And so, yeah, it's really cool to see what they're doing. And I'm like, you can do it. Like, create video. Like, people love video, especially now, more than they like static posts. So,
yeah. Is Grace? Oh, I want to say Grace commented. She's not in the room with you.
No. She's working from home today.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, I was like, she could hop on. Grace, this is, if you're still watching, this is an open invitation. You can hit me up and you can come on the next episode that's available.
Yeah, Grace, you should do it. Grace works directly with clients, so she hears everything all day, every day. Right. So I do think that she would be a really good person to have on just to talk about this kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh, client success. Okay, that's awesome. I know that this is the content crowd, but I'm trying to like get everything that kind of goes around that. I think client success is also something that content creators could do a little bit learning on as well.
Yeah, like our social media person, like she makes better content when Grace is communicating with the client to kind of like bridge that gap, which is really nice.
That's awesome. Yeah. So Grace, hit me up. We'll get it scheduled. I want to get back into our questions because I keep kind of like asking you a bunch of questions about urgent care, and I want you to brag on yourself a little bit. So I do want to ask about like content and campaigns you've worked on that you highly believed in that totally flopped, but also ones that turned out really well, and sort of like what you learned from both of those.
Okay. So I have like I told you I would bring handouts. A lot of these are physical things, which I don't get to do often because like my whole life is on the internet. But we tried to do direct mailers one time because we had like a list of like our dream 100 clients we wanted to work with. And so we had their addresses, we had everything to do. And I was like, well, I need like a cool mail out to send first. And then after they got that mail out, like a few weeks later, they were going to receive something else. And then they were going to receive an email and then they were going to do this. So we got a card from ZipRecruiter. So I did steal this from ZipRecruiter. But it was like this little foldable thing. And it like has information and stuff, but I liked that it overlapped. Like I literally went back to our graphic design.
Yeah. I was like, that looks like one of the things I would have like kept in like a box because it's like cool. And I want to make something like that one day.
Yeah. For people that don't know, Trevor and I went to college together. We were in graphic design together like the whole time. Yeah. So literally I got the bone fold thing. You remember that?
Yeah.
I got to do that with these and I was transported back to Miss Reynolds.
That's awesome. I never bought a bone, the bone thing, but
the only one that I did, because our printer people were like, hey, we don't know how to fold this. And I was like, that's fine. I'll just pick them up and I'll fold it myself. I know how to do that. Yeah. So I was really excited about this because I thought it was valuable information. I thought it was different. I thought it was fun. Heard nothing, not a single anything. And so I was like, well, that was a bummer because I was really excited about this. It took a lot of time. I was really proud of the content that was in it and like the way I designed it to communicate that content. And so that didn't work. And that was a bummer. And then the other thing is we got a book put together and I got to design the cover, which was really fun. And so this is it. It's called Walk-ins Welcome. And then it has like just information about digital marketing and how it can help your clinic and all that stuff. So we got it put together, was super excited. I built out a whole campaign on it, had early sign up emails for people to get like a code through Amazon to get it for cheaper, like put months of work into this. And then Amazon wouldn't actually publish it for some reason. So it never got published. So this copy we have because we got them printed from like a local place. So we were still able to send them out. But I like did all this hype and like all this prep work and nothing, like it didn't work out for us. So we're hoping to do another book sometime soon. Yeah. And hopefully, fingers crossed, that one goes a lot better than this one did. But this one really hurt for a little while because I was like, we put months of work into this.
That's a huge bummer. Because you've got a physical book right there. It's so weird that like out of all the things that like books you can find on Amazon, they like that one would be one that didn't.
Yeah, I think like I selected the wrong button when I was trying to get like Kindle Direct Publishing to do it. So like honestly, it probably is my fault. But then like I could not get in touch with anybody to fix it. And so that was a bummer because I was really excited about the content that was in there. I was really excited about the funnel that I put together and like all that stuff and like the hype around it and all that. But one thing I am really proud of is our podcast. So this is our room. And it was also a slow process. So we started the podcast in 2022. So we've had it for almost 3 years now. And it was a little bit of a slower process to get like going and get listens and all that stuff. But I'm really proud of like how it's grown. Just like I think our content is better. Our guests are really cool. It's been really helpful for like, we'll have people like at the event we went to in Dallas, we had people walk up and talk to Michael and be like, oh, you're the podcast guy. And they were like, yeah. And I'm just sitting there like, we are the podcast.
Yeah. No, that's incredible to be kind of like known for something, but also known for something that's like everybody has a podcast, it seems like. But if you could be like known for having a podcast, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It was I felt really good about it because like I don't often get to we don't get a lot of feedback from clinics. again, they're so busy. Like they don't, like they'll watch stuff and they'll view stuff, but then they don't like ever like respond and be like, oh, liked this episode, blah, 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 which is totally fine. But it was really cool to like see that in person and hear that a few times. And they were like, your content's great, because it's Nick and Michael that host it. And they just have like very casual conversation. They're like, we feel like you're real and authentic and all that stuff, which is what I'm trying to do with like the content I put out. So it's really nice that those connect.
Creating a podcast, it is kind of a lot of work to get set up or whatever, but also like you could create all of your content for the week from this like 1 hour. Like I've learned that like from doing this for 1 hour a week, I'm like, I have so much stuff that I need to like actually post and write and put out there. But it's like before, like I don't have to think about like what to write anymore. Like somebody will say like 5 or 6 things and that's like a post for every day now, because I can just like rip off what, like if I just talk to people who are better at what they do than I am, then I can get all of the information and like just write about it. So
yeah, doing the podcast has really helped fill our content schedule, because it goes out every week. So like every Wednesday I have a post going out about that. And then if we have a guest, there's promo that goes out on Tuesday. I'm able to take podcast episodes and turn them into blogs. Or if we have a really good podcast episode that we do get feedback on, we're like, oh, let's turn that into a webinar. Let's turn that into like a YouTube video, or we can do short form content on TikTok or YouTube shorts or anything like that. So yeah, podcasting's great. It just like, it basically builds the content calendar for you. Like you don't even have to put too much extra effort into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as long as you can get a guest that is like fun to talk with, which I guess you guys don't do guests. You just do Michael and Nick. Is that right?
We do a little bit of both. So recently we've had a few guests on, but we also have solo episodes where it's just Nick and Michael. But yeah, so we kind of do a little bit of both. And it used to be where they would be like, oh, we don't really know what to talk about. So like we would figure out a topic or whatever. But now they come in and they're like, we're going to talk about this and we're going to talk about that. And it doesn't even have to originally relate to healthcare, but they'll figure out a way to put it in there.
Yeah. I guess also like if you don't have time to wrap up something this week, you can like, we'll start on that next week. Like that's there's always like when you start talking and it gets out there, like, oh, there's so many ideas. I do want to ask, like, why do you think the mailer didn't work? Because I know we're kind of in like a weird time where like physical mail was kind of like on its way out for the longest time, but now I feel like physical mail has had like somewhat of a comeback at least. And there's been some times where I've like suggest like your audience might be the right type for physical mail. So I'm wondering like, why do you think it didn't work for you guys?
I feel like when we sent it out, and sometimes I feel like we still struggle to like convey this. I feel like clinics don't often understand the importance of digital marketing. There are tons of them that do, and they're great and wonderful. And I'm not even like crapping on the ones that don't. But it's like at the end of the day, they're like, oh, well, like I have reviews and I have word of mouth and I have grassroots, which is wonderful. But we often believe that like you have to combine like your grassroots efforts with your digital efforts. Because it's like, yeah, if I go to an event and I see your booth or whatever, but then I'm like going on Google to look for you and you don't pop up, like I'm going to go somewhere else. Like I don't know how to like, it has to be both, you know, I think to fully like work and fully like have the whole like omnipresence that I think clinics should have. But yeah, I think it was like at a weird time where like I understand the importance of digital marketing. So I've tried to like kind of shift our conversations on social media to talk about like, hi, this is how we can help you. And I went to an event in March with Xperity, which is like one of the big players in the healthcare space. And they were talking more about like the patient as a consumer and like they want to be able to get there from their phone. And it's like, if I'm sick on the couch, like if I can't access your clinic from my phone, like I'm going to find somebody else. And so it's like trying to like talk to them about like, hi, we're helping. We're the first step in that patient acquisition process. This is why we are important. And this is why digital marketing is important. And this is how we can help you. So kind of like shifting that language just to remind them of the importance, the same way they're trying to remind people like, hey, you can come to our clinic.
It's interesting to be like, kind of like the way I came into it, where it's like, well, there's an urgent care on every corner. Like I'll just find like the closest one to go to. Yeah. But then when I searched, like when you were talking earlier, like what do my like search results look like? And there's like, even just in the ads part, there are like 6 different ones near me. So it's kind of like, okay, from here, which one do I go to? And maybe I'll go to one that's like a name that I know or something like that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ways that you could, you know, like you said, with the Google like business, like if there's an image of like not the building, but maybe like the staff inside or something like that. Like there's those little things that kind of stand out a little bit more that people don't always think about.
Yeah, I just think with this, like it was not, I think I could have done a better job at like educating like why it's important. Cause like it talks about like we help healthcare clinics do this. And it's like, okay, but like, why does that help them? Because they don't know that it's important. And if they don't know, They don't know.
Yeah.
So I think if I did this again, it would be more of like you're struggling with patient acquisition, especially during the summer. Like clinics see a downturn during the summer a little bit, like they call it the summer slump, just because people are traveling and like not at home or they're on the go or anything like that. So it's really like, okay, what kind of messaging can you use during the summer? We've done like a webinar on that. But yeah, if I did this again, it would be more of a, hi, here's how we can help you be the hero sort of thing, instead of like, hi, here's what we do.
Yeah, that makes sense. The summer slump thing is interesting because can urgent cares offer other services like besides like I know these like I see a lot of them have like these like IV things. Like are those like okay?
Yeah. So Grace would honestly be better to talk about this, but I can kind of talk about what I know. So yeah, you can do IV, like hydration is a big one. Weight loss is a big one. So like GLP-1s, that sort of thing. I think we have some clinics that do that. If not, we've seen clinics do that. But a lot of what we tell our clinics to start talking about is like back to school physicals, maybe like any travel immunizations that they need, like being involved in like, again, like pulling in that grassroots. Obviously we can't like assist them with that, but we can kind of come up with some ideas of like, oh, you can go do this. Just getting involved in the community. And again, I think it's a great time. We also tell them too, like, this is a great time for you to be making content of like, hey, this is who we are. This is what we do, that sort of thing. But I think we're about to ramp up. Really back to school physicals is like the biggest thing that we do for our clients during the summer.
Yeah. See, I didn't even think about that. You know, I mean, I'm not going back to school, but like at some point it'd be like, oh, maybe it'd be nice to like knock this out in like June and not wait till like the week before school to try and get all this like figured out.
Yeah. Summer's a great time to really work on a project is what I've heard Michael say before. It's like, oh, if your front desk needs to, like, if you want to like retrain your front desk and try and make their conversions better and like have them like just help them in that area, like you have time to do it during the summer. And not every clinic faces this, but we do find that this is like a popular trend. Like we did a webinar on it for Google Ads specifically, like, hey, you're about to go into this. Here's how you can set your Google Ads up to be successful. In April, I believe. And then Xperity, Nick is about to be on an Xperity webinar where they're talking about the summer slump and like what kind of digital marketing things you can do, what services you can add, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very cool. That's I'm just like kind of like amazed like hearing about all these things because it's just like one of those things that like I've never really like thought about. Like
honestly, I didn't think about it until I was in it.
Yeah, and now it's like, oh, there's so many. But I think that's what also makes it kind of like fun, right? Is that there's a lot of avenues and there's a lot of things that can be done because nobody really does anything. So
yeah, like you just don't. Yeah, you don't think about it. You're like, oh, they've got it figured out. And especially having a design background, like I never thought I was going to go into the healthcare space. Like I don't have a healthcare background. Like I don't know anything besides like what I've heard and like podcasts I listen to and conversations I have with people in the industry. But other than that, it's like I'm figuring it out too. So like let's help each other, you know?
That is something I didn't really get into that, and you brought it up and I wanted to talk about it again, was just like how you made the transition from being a designer to, I mean, you're like in the marketing space, but less design and more like content strategy and creation, I would say. So how do you think your career like changed from being a graphic designer to what you do now?
Honestly, I would say it probably started at JSU when I had my internship with the housing department. So I started off as just a graphic designer. Like all I did was like, I would make the social graphics, I would make banners, I would do all that stuff. And then our social media intern left because she graduated. And I was kind of in a position where I was like, well, I can do social media because I'd done it for like some of the clubs we were in. Like I knew like kind of how it worked. And I had done my own social media a little bit, like trying to get my art out there and stuff. But honestly, it was just like there was a position at JSU Housing where I was like, I can figure that out. Like I can do that. I feel like I'm in my Elle Woods era where I'm like, what, like it's hard? Like it's like I can figure it out.
Yeah.
And so I started doing social media with that and I really liked it. I thought it was really fun. And then after college, I worked for a web design company, which even that I was kind of like in a position where I was like, I would really like to keep doing social media because I think it's fun. I think it's engaging. Like I really enjoy it. But again, like there weren't many jobs at that point where it was like, oh, you can just do social media. And so then I found Nick the Marketer. And they were looking for a social media person. And I was like, well, I've done this before. And I literally walked into Nick's office because he was our neighbor. I walked into his office with my resume and I put it down and I said, hi, here's what I can do. Anything else that you need, I can figure out. And he was like, okay. And so when I came on, I was doing social media for clients just for Nick the Marketer because Patient Care Marketing Pros didn't exist yet. And I was writing blogs. I was writing newsletters. I was doing social media content. Like it was a lot of like client heavy stuff. And honestly, I feel like I learned more from Nick Me and Michael met at our last thing. He just commented.
Oh.
I like being able to see the comments. But yeah, like it was just like through conversation with Nick. And that's where I got one of the questions was like, what's my rule that I swear by? And it was engage, educate, and entertain. And that is something that Nick said from day one. And I was like, okay, 6. So if it doesn't fall into these 3 categories, I'm not going to do it. Like it doesn't make any sense. And so I worked with clients for a little while, and that was fun for a little while. And then I was like, I think I want to do like more internal stuff. Like I want to work on the brand and help grow the brand. So that way we can help more people. Cause we didn't have anybody in-house doing that, like working specifically on Nick the Marketer. And so I kind of just had conversations with Nick and showed that I was able to do it. And we kind of went from there.
I want to touch back on you saying like you were in your Elwoods era, like I'll just figure it out or whatever, which is like also anybody listening to this to hear this as well. Like this is like the best thing. Like I believe this is the best thing to do is to like, if you know something is in your capabilities, maybe you just haven't built a process for it, agree to do it and then build a process while you're doing it this first time. You're getting paid to build this process. So the next time you do it, it's like simpler. And if it's a project that you can charge other people for, like you can charge more for it next time and it takes you less time because you're building reps and you've built a process. So I think that's like that's the way to do it. And I feel like everybody should do more things that they maybe don't know how to do yet and build it while you're learning how to do it.
Yeah. In my brain, I'm like, nothing is that hard, you know? Like, I mean, especially like with what I do, I'm like, oh, if I don't know how to do it, like I can Google it or I can find somebody that does know the answer and then figure it out that way. I still very much feel like I've like done a resurgence into my Elwoods era of like, oh, what? Like it's hard.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. I was talking to a guy that wrote a book, but he was giving me like some business advice or whatever. He's like, he like had like a plan written. I was like, what do you think about this? Like, what are you going to tell yourself to make you do this? And I was just like, it's not that hard and it doesn't take that long. And he was like, stop right there. He's like, don't say anything else. Like, that's it. It's not that hard and it doesn't take that long. And it's like, okay, got to get out of my head about how long something might take or like everything is like possible and it's not that hard.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think you talked about it with Jessica on a podcast where y'all talking about thumbnails because she has a design background too.
Yeah.
Y'all were talking about like in school, and honestly, I've thought more about this since I heard y'all talk about it. But like in school, we would have weeks or a week to build out like 100 thumbnails of a thing. Yeah. And now it's like, I don't have that time to do that. So I'm like, okay, how can I do this based off like what I've done before, like in the process thing? And it's like, okay, how can I do this and put it out when I have less time? And so I'm like, oh, I can figure it out. You know, like it's not, I don't know. I've leaned very much into like the nothing is that serious that I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Same here. And also with like the big on like the 80% done is better than like never getting it out. That doesn't mean I'm going to do something bad, but like I would say this whole thing every week, it's 80% done and I'm actually like doing it. And that's way more important to me than sitting around thinking about what I could be doing.
I think that has been the hardest train that we talked about that. I had my annual review last week. I've been here at Nick the Marketer for 6 years. Woo. But in my annual review, Michael was like, you overthink a lot. And I was like, I do think it's my art brain being like, okay, I have to think about every single detail because I'm going to get asked a question about it. But it's like social media, like I'm just going to put out like, obviously it's like helpful content. It falls within our content pillars, but it's like, just put it out, just do it. Like, don't worry about it. Like, also it's like, if you mess up, like, I think that honestly to me is I'm like, oh, that's super relatable. And it doesn't feel stuffy. It doesn't feel like unapproachable. I'm like, just be human, like just be yourself. And like, it's fine.
Yeah. I feel like every other post I put out has a misspelling or something wrong in it. Yeah. And then somebody shares it. And I'm like, well, everybody has seen me mess up. And you know what? Like, hey, I'm still in the whatever percent of people that post like 3 times a week, whatever that is. It's like 1% of people. I was like, at least I'm still in that 1%. And you know what? Like nobody noticed and nobody commented on the misspelling. And like things are going out.
Nobody is judging me as harshly as I'm judging me.
Yeah. I think on 2 of these episodes so far, I accidentally introduced myself and clicked the guest name to like bring up the like lower third. Like I was like, hey, and so I think I did that twice already. So you know what? It's just one of those things. Like,
yeah, it's all good. It's all fine. Yeah. I think that, getting into the content side of things and how quickly it turns around has been an adjustment. Because I'm like, okay, you're constantly having to put stuff out, especially like with what I'm doing. Like I'm having to update stuff. I'm having to do this. And so I'm trying to get out of like my overthinking graphic design brain of like, it has to be perfect or everybody's going to be mad at me and I'm going to get a bad grade. Or it's like, I'm not.
Yeah. If anything, you'll probably get a better better chance of whatever you're trying to accomplish by just putting it out at 80% done.
Yeah, that's something even still I'm still working on.
Yeah. Which the hill you said you're on is being authentic. And I think that's like where we just kind of covered was, why do you think like being authentic and like building trust is so important? Because certainly like on social media, not a lot of things are very like fake, and there's also a point of where like if you're trying to create content every day, you've got to fudge it a little bit, like,
Yeah.
you know. So
I'm all about like fluffing stuff up, you know, like making it, I don't know. I feel like even like with my personal stuff, I'll be like, la, 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 and I'll just kind of like amplify it a little bit more. But I'm like, at the end of the day, especially with AI, like people want that human connection. I think
Yeah.
you shared a post from somebody or you liked it about events being more popular.
Yeah.
Fully agree with that, because people want that human connection. They want that like emotional intelligence. They want to feel that. And it's like, as AI continues to grow, I don't want to lose that. And like, I don't want to lose like the face-to-face interactions. Like, I don't ever want to appear like a robot and like I know everything, because like I said, I don't. Like, I've taught myself all of this stuff. But yeah, I think that's the most important to me. And I feel like that's been important to me for a long time too, especially when I was trying to do, and I'm sure you remember the days of Instagram business people where it was like, quit your 9 to 5 and be a business owner and blah, blah, blah. We both did that. Like, we were both
I
like,
know.
yeah.
But you know what? That is where what got me. If it wasn't for you introducing me to a person who told me about a book that told me about this, like I wouldn't be. So there is some good out of that. But you're totally right. There was a time where I was like, it was like trying to make our lives seem like we were these awesome business people on Instagram.
Which we are awesome business people,
right,
by the way. But I don't have to be super structured. I don't have to be super rigid. Like, because if somebody meets me in person and I act like I do because you know me in person and like I feel like I'm acting like I do in person. If somebody sees my content online and it's super rigid and like structured, and they meet me in person and I'm like, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about, they're gonna be like, that's not the same person.
Yeah.
Like, that's not, you don't sound like yourself. And I'm gonna be, so I always try to like make sure there's like myself in the content that I'm creating, especially like for me. Yeah,
that's been like one of the hardest things too, is to like, how can I be like myself and be silly and be me, but also be like a knowledgeable person on like LinkedIn? Like, I, you know, like it's a weird thing to like kind of figure out. I think I'm like doing it. Like, I think most people on LinkedIn at least probably don't know me the same way that like you might know me, but like I'm still like, there's still some like fun in there. Like,
I still feel like you are in your content. Like when you post stuff, I read it in your voice. Like, this is Trevor speaking, and like he's talking to me about these things. And I just got into posting personal stuff on LinkedIn because I'd seen you do it, and I had seen one of my friends do it online. And I was like, oh, that's really cool, but like I don't know how to separate that. And so I had a conversation with my friend Christina, and I was like, yeah, I just kind of want to like start doing this. And she was like, yeah, just do it. And I was like, oh. And again, it goes back to the like, oh, it's not hard, just post stuff. And so I think like the first thing I ever posted was like, I went on a walk and I tracked it on Strava, and I like put what book I was listening to and how many dogs I saw, because I was like, I count the dogs. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, that's just fun. And it's like,
that's your
like,
point of view.
Yeah,
that's like your point of view for how you can make content that is like you.
Yeah. Like, I went on a walk and I posted that. And then I started posting like like I like to read, and I really don't read a ton of like educational things. Like, I mainly read for fun. Like, I've been posting, like, it's so fun.
I've been trying to read the Midnight Library or something for like 4 months, and I'll read like 4 pages and be like, well, and then I want to go.
You got to find a different book to get you back into reading for fun. I got back into reading for fun in like 2022, I think, because I was very against it. I was like, I don't want to read. We read too much in school. I'm done. And then I was like, oh, I'll pick up this. And audiobooks help too. But like, I post my like monthly reads that are all like fun books. And I'll just like talk. Like, I reread The Hunger Games recently, and I talked about that. And then people can be like, oh, I like The Hunger Games too. And da da da. So I've been trying to like post more personal content. That way, when people come to my page, like whether it's from a clinic or what, they can be like, oh, this is a real person. Like, she's fun and funny. And and if we talk to each other, like, I know what I'm going to get. Like, I know what the conversation's going to be. And honestly, it's been fun. I am still trying to figure it out. Like, I did just start like a month ago.
I mean, I think you do like a great job at that. And like, you always have like, again, like every one of these episodes, I've like tried to bring home, like, to create something, like, you just have to have like a point of view. Like, being a content creator isn't really that hard. You just need like, what is like your point of view on something? And maybe it just takes a little bit of time to develop. But I feel like you've all, like, whether it's on Instagram and when you did like the collages and stuff, and you've had the book clubs and all the things with like your friends, you've always had like a really unique like point of view. Like, counting the dogs that you see on a walk is like, So,
I did take that from this girl that like does marathons. She has a little clicker and she counts the dogs. And I'm like, oh my God, that'd be so much more fun. And it would keep me engaged on my walk because you can get bored walking or running. You're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go home. But she counts the dogs. And I was like, that's genius. And so, yeah, I did take that from her. But honestly,
still, it's all right. We can borrow things from other people and make it our own. And it's all right.
I just feel like you should always like have a little bit of yourself in your content, whether that's like for you personally or your brand. So it's like I try to, when I'm putting out Patient Care Marketing Pros content or Nick the Marketer content, like make it sound like the way we talk in the office. You know, it's like the way we talk to each other, the way we talk to clients, because like, again, when clients come in, if our content is super stuffy and we're just like, hey, what's up? They're going to be like,
that's a good point too. Cause you want to make sure that like the appearance that you have out there and people come to talk, it's still like the same, which is why I think like some of this, like showing up and talking and having your face on like a video is like, or being in a podcast is also like super important. Cause then like, you know, the person before you've even like met them.
Yeah. And that's like why I'm so proud of our podcast too, is because that's happened with clients that have come from the podcast. Like Nick will hop on a strategy session or a discovery meeting or whatever. And they'll be like, oh, you've already sold me because I've been listening to your podcast. I know who you are. I know how you talk to people. And it's like, okay, great. Like that's the connections. Those are the connections we want to have.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's how Scrappy ABM was built, was mostly from like podcasting. Like, I think that's, you know, and putting content out there, but just Mason being like very forward and sharing things from his life and sharing his updates and books that he read and things like that. He's just always been very open. And I know that's like hard for some people to do.
That's
I think
scary for some people.
Yeah. I think the more that you can unlock that, even if it's just a little bit, you know, like following the 3 rule, like if it doesn't educate or entertain or excite, right? Is that it?
Educate, entertain, and engage.
Sorry. Yeah. It's not one of those, you know, if you're doing a lot of educational content, like just throw something. I posted something the other day and I was just like, I should just put a photo with this. I don't have a photo. I just like took a picture of myself holding a plant in my office. Like, I mean, what's the, you know, I don't know what, there's nothing, not a lot of thought. It was like, I can do this real quick. And so.
You also posted, y'all are having another baby?
Yeah.
I knew that from LinkedIn. And I was telling Megan, our friend, about it. And I was like, yeah, Trevor's having another baby. And she was like, where did you see that? And I'm like, LinkedIn.
I felt so bad because Olivia texted me and she was like, why did I have to find out from LinkedIn? And I was like, I just got caught up in the moment because my boss had just shared that he was having a second baby also. I was like, oh, I'm going to ride his coattails to talk about this.
But that's so fun. And that's like so exciting. And like people, I like that LinkedIn is kind of turning into like a more personal thing. You know, it's like, obviously like it doesn't need to turn into Facebook, but it's like, I like learning about the people that I'm connected with. And like seeing that you were having another kid, I was like, oh my God, I was so excited. And I texted you about it. And like, obviously, like some people don't want to do that and that's totally fine. But it's like, okay, what areas can you find something that you can share? Whether it's the books you read that month or a thought you had when you were on a walk or in the shower, or Kaylee just found out.
Oh, yeah. Well, now Kaylee knows. So there we go, everybody.
But yeah, I was telling Megan about it. Megan was like, where did you see that? And I was like, LinkedIn. So there's so many different ways to like find stuff that's personal. I'm very much an open book where like I could sit down with somebody at a bar and in 2 seconds tell them my whole childhood trauma. Like I don't, that for me is something that like I don't really care about. But a lot of people are more hesitant, which is totally fine. That's probably a good thing. So yeah, it's just like finding out like, okay, like you said, what point of view can I have? What do I feel comfortable sharing? And just put it out there. And if nobody sees it, tag me in it and I'll see it. And I'll like it.
Yeah, tag your friends. I mean, we have a Slack channel called LinkedIn Love, and we post something on LinkedIn. We share it so all of our coworkers can go see what's happening. I mean,
love that. We might have to start doing that too. I really like want our team to get more engaged on LinkedIn. We just introduced a employee advocacy program.
That's awesome.
Where they're sharing like Patient Care Marketing Pros content. But like, yeah, I would love to do more like personal LinkedIn stuff. Cause again, I just feel like that builds a connection with people, especially because like that's where our audience lives.
Yeah, it makes it kind of more fun because if I'm going to share something, like I'm not just going to like tell everybody I work with yet, maybe, but I might like just put it on LinkedIn and they can see from there, and that just kind of makes it a little bit more fun because I don't talk to everybody on our team every single day.
Oh yeah, because y'all are all spread out. Yeah,
so it's kind of like a fun way to stay social with each other and build that water cooler talk without having the physical water cooler.
Yeah. If anybody ever needs any ideas of some personal stuff to share, I'm happy to talk about that because I'm also figuring out.
So where can everybody find you if they wanted to see the stuff you share?
You can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm trying to be more engaged. I feel like if we're following each other on there, it'll inspire me to be more engaged. Yeah, LinkedIn, it's -Hannah L. Green or /Hannah L. Green.
Cool. Yeah, I will definitely. I'll make sure that I'm engaging more with your stuff so everybody on my side can also see it.
Perfect. I'll engage with yours too.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. This has been Hannah Green.
Thanks for having me. This was fun. Hopefully, it was good. I feel like I was really nervous. I hope I answered your questions correctly.
Yeah, no, you did a great job, and I think we'll have a lot of content we can share from this.
Okay, perfect. So, yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.